Hi, good morning, Shabnam. Lovely to have you here. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing? How are you doing in this current scenario?
I'm doing very well. Morning, Priyanka. So lovely to be here and see familiar faces. Pleasure is all mine.
Okay, great. It's great to have you here. Okay, so we're going to dive right into the questions. Let me kind of, start off by saying for the benefit of all our viewers, can you tell us a little bit about the genesis of the Orange Lane? Of course, you are a celebrated interior designer, the founder of the Orange Lane and your furnishing brand Peacock Life. We'd like to know a little bit about the Orange Lane, how it began, a little bit about your journey and what has kind of got you here.
So, okay, let me get all this right. So the Orange Lane started in 2003, and it's been a good 15, 16 years now. Uh, it started honestly with the passion for design. I never ever had imagined or had very big dreams that we will be doing the kind of body of work we are doing now. So that is something which is uh, it's lovely as a memory to look back and see everything that we've gone through. Peacock Life, of course, started in 2010. That is our retail store. And Peacock Life started purely out of a whim where, for the Orange Lane, when we tried to source, we felt that there was this gap in the market to be able to get affordable artistic furniture, which was creative and not the run of the mill. And that's how Peacock Life started. Both have been great journeys, and looking forward to many, many more years of doing this and other stuff as well.
Tell us a little bit about your most exciting projects that you've undertaken under the Orange Lane.
It would be wrong to say most exciting because when a project comes to us, I think all projects are exciting at that point. It's just that when you look back and you try to see, oh my God, what transpired in the making of certain projects, they leave a little more impression maybe than the others. But they're all our babies, and we're proud of all of them. I think Kangana's Manali home has been something which has been very exciting, more because it was uncharted territory in Himachal Pradesh, in Manali. It's a small town. There's not much available. There's actually nothing available except for that little tourist market. And she wanted a home that was world class. She wanted the amenities to be such that she could actually cave in there for months at end and not miss anything. So it was a challenge, but it was beautiful. The Himalayan mountain crisp air is something that I miss very much right now.
Don't we all are now even kind of stepping out of our homes is a luxury. I'll take even Bombay air if that's what it means.
Yep, I'm imagining that air here right now.
Uh, okay, so now, of course, life has changed a lot as we know it with COVID-19 coming into the picture. Tell us how this has impacted Peacock Life in particular, since retail, of course, is kind of on the back burner right now with everything that's going on. So, what has been the impact, and how do you kind of see the way forward?
Peacock Life, like every other retail, of course, is going to be hit. That is going to be the reality of how things are going to pan out. We are a product which is not an essential commodity. So I'm guessing that most people, we are not going to be the first go-to place once things even open up and normalize. But I am someone who likes to look at this as an opportunity to create um, newer opportunities. I'm looking at this time where our teams are sitting, we are thinking, we are rethinking how people are going to be living. We are rethinking Peacock Life itself as a brand. And hopefully, we are going to have something to share with you guys very soon.
That's great. I mean, necessity is the mother of invention. So we're all
Absolutely.
kind
And
of.
Yeah, and I think sometimes, you take things for granted. So I actually believe that this is going to push all of us out of our comfort zone, where we had become extremely comfortable. I wouldn't say complacent. So in a way, it's okay because it's going to be new beginnings, and new
Right.
beginnings are going to require newer ideas. So we're working on it.
Good, great to hear. Just wanted to know, like from a client perspective, so projects you had already kind of undertaken before all this happened. What's been the impact on that? Are those projects continuing? Have they kind of stopped? Are clients, giving due importance and thinking that this is going to kind of resume after all this ends, or have people kind of put plugs in projects saying that like, okay, now this is not priority anymore? What has been your experience?
Um, so I think, everyone's in the same boat to a very large extent as far as clients are concerned. There have been some clients where we have actually we handed over to beautiful bars and restaurants, one in Goa, one in Mumbai. We handed them over. We were supposed to have our openings in a week's time, and the lockdown happened. So clients like that have the spaces ready, but I guess they're going to have to kind of grapple with how the business is now. We've fortunately had a lot of handovers in the last 3 months. Somehow, 60% of our projects were at handover stages, and all the new ones were kind of starting. So we were in that cycle at that point. Some of them have unfortunately gotten stuck on the last leg and midway. So those are the projects which are actually affected, where work has come to a standstill. Um, Slightly unclear, like everybody else, as to especially how the construction industry is going to open up. Because our work is labor intensive and we are working with unorganized workforce. So that is something which is, my guess is anybody else's. But other than that, I think a lot of our projects have been that were just about starting. Our clients have been very, very supportive, which is very endearing at a time like this. Where we are utilizing this time to create presentations, to create designs, to actually get in touch with suppliers and vendors, which our regular schedules don't allow us to explore and experiment. And so we are actually using this as our recharge, our being ready when time opens up. So
Right.
it's been not that bad. It's been okay.
Okay. And what about some sort of like, tele consulting, or is that something that you're kind of looking at till, things pick up? So consulting over the phone and, helping clients out in smaller ways, any change in any communication?
Absolutely. So the projects that we are currently working on creatively are happening through video calls and conference calls and things like that, because that is the way of life currently.
Mhm.
Of course, I miss the humane touch, but I guess we all do. So creatively, it's we are fortunate than a lot of other people where your creativity is your own, and that is your art, so it doesn't really stop. And I think nothing can really stop you from doing what's within you, and our line of work is that. So I think that I would like to look at it that we've been fortunate, and things are good. We're creatively just charging up.
That's great. How do you kind of see the design landscape changing post COVID? Not just on a design sense, but even like the kind of materials people will use, the kind of consciousness that will creep up into the way people approach their spaces and their projects, both on the designer front as well as the client front. I'd love to know your thoughts on that.
So one is, Priyanka, that I'm very hopeful that people are kinder to the way they look at their choices now. Travel is going to be something that is going to be a longer process to normalize, if it does normalize at some point. So, a lot of Made in India is going to hopefully move forward, which is something I'm very, very hopeful and passionate about. Our firm already in Peacock Life, we are already 100% made in India. And even what we are going to be working on is going to be about now handmade in India, and being more inclusive with the artisan and the craft community. as far as our Orange Lane Design Studio goes, I think I'm hopeful that people will recycle, people will look at India with a new perspective. People will, yeah, maybe work on site. People might start looking at uh, including nature, not being so harsh with their construction methodology, making sure that things are constructed in a way where things can be put up easier and faster. So I'm hopeful that this teaches us, at least the generation that's gone through this, a
Right.
newer way of thinking.
Right. I hope so too. I think this is a rude wake-up call, or just nature's way of telling us to kind of step back and look at what we're doing to it.
I hope we learn from this. I hope that, even if it's a little bit, but we are able to imbibe this in our day-to-day way of thought.
Right. Just a last question to kind of, help lift people's morale up. So staying indoors can be extremely monotonous, that also for days on end. And of course, people don't have access to purchase anything externally to spruce up their homes. So can you give our viewers a couple of tips to kind of, reinvent their spaces as they exist within their homes to just, uplift the mood a little bit, make them feel like they're in a different place?
Absolutely. I think I have not enjoyed my home so much in many, many years, because we don't end up really spending that kind of time at home, or, actually sitting in every space to enjoy and see what that space has to offer us. So I would really recommend or suggest that you have already spent a lot of time in spaces. So, whether it's your living room or your bedroom, and you have the time. So, I think it'll be great to kind of rework your furniture layout, try out to, shift some of the seating closer to the window, because that is what we're all really wanting right now, some fresh air, some sunshine. Probably if you have some plants, instead of just watering them like a chore to keep them alive, actually try to shift them around closer to the seatings where you end up sitting more. Plants do liven up the space a lot. Probably if you have a couple of table lamps, just kept randomly, maybe if you can turn that closer to your seatings, or put in a nice dari or a rug which has not been used, or even a chatai, throw in some cushions on that, put in a lamp next to it, put in some planters next to it, put nice music, create a vibe that's happy, create a vibe, because the house has certain amount of energy, and that energy is derived from you and what you're feeling. So I think even things like picking up an old throw or a sari, or a stole or a dupatta, and using it as a throw, just to spruce up the space, to add that bit of spunk and color. There's a lot that you can do. So I think instead of looking at this as a time where we are trapped, I think we should look at this as a time where we will never get, hopefully, this kind of time in our homes again. So, make the most of it, create happy spaces.
I absolutely agree. Thank you so much for being with us today. This was really insightful, and we're really glad that we could kind of have this conversation with you.
Thank you
Good
so
luck
much for having me, Priyanka.
to you
Thank you.
and the entire
You,
team. All
thank you.
right.
Bye. Bye.